Welcome to Take 5 with the Top 50, the video interview series with Atlantic Business Magazine's Top 50 CEOs. Each episode, we ask 5 questions to find out what makes these award-winning leaders tick. I'm Greg McDonald, a senior manager in the R&D and government incentives practice with presenting sponsor Grant Thornton. In this episode, I'm talking to Robert Kiely, president of Envirem Organics Incorporated. As president and GM of Envirem, Bob has led his group to become Canada's largest private compost and organic residuals management company. In just 10 years, he has grown his business to $30 million in revenue with over 140 employees and has established a U.S. company to facilitate Envirem's export growth. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started. So, Bob, you're educated as a civil engineer and started in your career in road building. How and why did you end up focusing on the environmental sector?
Well, first of all, I graduated from both St. X and Dalhousie University in civil engineering, and I came out of school, went to work for a national road building company, and mostly in paving and road building, and it gave me a great background in being organized. But really, that developed through there was a need in the late '80s, early '90s for contaminated soil treatment, and I had some experience around asphalt plants, and we converted asphalt plants into thermal treatment plants to treat petroleum impacted soils. Did that for a few years, and the theory of the day was that you had to have this like 99% destruction, and that caused probably more environmental degradation than we were trying to treat. So we started looking for more environmental sustainable ways, and that led to some biological treatments and some the use of organics, and so I started experimenting a lot with using organics to treat industrial soils or petroleum soils, and from there our organic division boomed much faster than our industrial soils, and that led us to becoming such a big player in the Canadian compost and organic residual management business.
Excellent. A lot of people think going green is the right thing to do, but that it's more of an expense than an investment. Using Envirem as an example, how would you respond to a statement like that?
Well, what we do from environmental and organic is really two things. One is our business is waste market. So if I speak really to our waste management initiatives, clients really have options for engaging into some discussions on recycling or waste diversion from landfilling, and so cost is a part of it, but they start looking at what are the benefits. As larger like forestry companies, for example, they would say we're being evaluated on our environmental performance, our environmental scorecard, so tell me how this helps us. Tell us how this improves that scorecard. Tell us how that improves our environmental or our climate footprint. And so on the waste management initiatives, as companies start to explore that and understand how waste diversion, waste recycling, and composting plays versus landfilling, that evolved. And so that is not all about cost. That's a lot about, again, their environmental scorecard and their environmental performance, which becomes very important in a lot of industries, and especially the forestry sector, which is our primary clients on the waste side. So then on the product side, so we take these wastes and we convert them into organic products and a lot of retail products. And there's a lot of pressure on us through R&D to be low cost and provide products a reasonable cost and not much different than traditional products. So I would suggest a lot of it is on us as our R&D program to have these products, but and then we make a lot of products that are organic certified. And when you get to organic certified, a customer, I think, is because of the compliance, because of the packaging requirements, the customer will pay a little bit more because of those things. But again, the stress is on these organic-based companies to become more and more competitive with traditional products, and I think that has evolved over the last 10 years.
Based on the news coming from the EU, it sounds like that's not changing. It's only increasing.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of issues in Europe that a lot of our products that we work with is potting soils. Like we produce a lot of pot stills for a lot of national clients. And the goal is really to replace or to remove peat as much as possible from high-end growing medias. And so our like peat is like oil, it's non-renewable, it's a one-time shot, it takes 500,000 to 1 million years to create. So there's a lot of pressure in Europe to close down peat mining or at least extend the life of them. And so that's on us to, again, conduct a lot of R&D so that we can have more sustainable environmental approach to this, that we can put, waste-based products into these mixes through research and efficacy trials and all that as well.
Interesting. In your youth, you were a high-performance competitive ball player. Looking at your management style, how would you describe yourself? Star player, an umpire, a coach, or the GM?
I would say none of those, actually. I would suggest I try to manage as a captain. I would say more of that than anything. I want to be a player. First of all, competitive sports, whether it's ball or hockey, if you play at high levels, the two things you learn is you got to be competitive. If you're going to excel, you have to have a competitive attitude, and then you need to be a team player. So if you look at those two things and you bring them into your business, again, I want to be a player. I want to be a leader. I'm not the star. I am the guy that's going to set the tempo. I'm going to have high expectation amongst my team, and I'm going to be a leader. And that's kind of the philosophy I have with this business, is that I got great people. And so my role here is to set the tempo, create the expectations, work with them, pull them along. And especially in a growth company, I mean, like when you're running a business that, we've grown from, call it 25 people or 20 people to 150 people in 10 years, you need to surround yourself with a team that have the ability to handle growth and all this excitement around with growth. And that really takes, I think, a leader that's willing to work with them. And again, my philosophy is being a captain. I am the guy that drives the day and love the business of being into it. So that's kind of what I would suggest I am.
Very good. You touched on this before, but innovation is typically associated with high-tech industries. You work in composting or in organic waste management. How is innovation part of your business?
Twofold. One, the organics, as I touched on earlier. We're trying to replace. Our business is really replacing, call it non-sustainable products with more environmental sustainable products through recycling. Whether it's manufactured topsoil, whether it's growing medias that have displaced peat, whether it's organic fertilizer to replace chemicals. So our initiative is to bring, the environmental sustainable products to the marketplace, and that requires a lot. So probably a big success for a company is we invested significantly into research and development and a lot of work with the Toronto Agricultural College, which now is part of Dow. We did tremendous amounts. I think one project was 4 years with them. But it takes that product development and research if you're going to be comfortable bringing these replacements into the marketplace. So that was very key, and I suggest that's a big part of our future, is to continue to invest in R&D, on the innovation side and have that behind us. And the other thing is, at the end of the day, we're a manufacturing plant. So any manufacturing plant today has to be innovative. It has to be automated. So we made a lot of investments into automation, into robotics and fully automatic lines, because, in a manufacturing setting today, you have to be very low cost and quality control. And our investments into, significant automated equipment allows us to become more competitive and reach more geographical markets and meet the QA and the responsibility of being a vendor for a lot of the national companies out there. So they have the level of trust that we have the quality control around it. We have low cost. So innovation has been a significant part of our success.
So our final question: what is your long-term game plan for your company, and how do you plan to get there?
Well, we've experienced significant growth in the last 10 years, and we want to continue that trend moving forward. The things that got us to today have been, continual research and product development, R&D, and into manufacturing assets. And we have a pretty significant capital asset growth plan. We're installing another packaging line this winter, which will become our sixth fully automatic line. We invested in a U.S. company, or we started a U.S. company, invested in U.S. property, and built a significant packaging plant in central Maine. So our growth plan is really to continue our expansion in the Northeast U.S. markets through our U.S. operations and our Canadian manufacturing assets.